In recent years, there have been many attempts to make certain drugs legal in the United States. I believe most states have now at least have where you can receive like medical cards if you want to purchase medical marijuana, but there's another there's another product that's on the market that's really taking off. And at one point there were two brothers that really constituted for a lot of these endeavors where people have lost their life over the years. And these brothers were so ruthless until they have been pointed at to having over 3,000 deletions on their record. So let's dive into the Oxy twins, like I just that I'm referring to. These brothers right here, and this article actually came out on CNN, and it points out these Florida brothers ran one of the largest opioid pill mills in the United States. The FBI says it would link to thousands of deaths. Now, why am I doing this video? I'm doing this video because a lot of people don't even know about these brothers, and a lot of people are still dying from the effects of their addiction to opioids. And what's so interesting is opioids is not even native to the United States. They're not. Opioids are from like Afghanistan and different places like that. So why is the opioids here being, being, why are people over here being overdosed on opioids? That's the word I'm trying to use. So let's get into it. Uh, Throngs of people hung outside the American Pain Clinic in Boca Raton, Florida, waiting their turn. Inside, a doctor greets them one by one and prescribes them pain medication, a handgun peeking out from under his white coat. So these guys were real live gangsters. They were so gangsterish until they wanted, one of the doctors wanted their wife to take the fall for these opioids. And if you don't believe me, here's proof from the video. Let's watch this video really quick.
Inside the house. What? Yeah.
So what he's saying is they have a search warrant to search our house. Now the brothers, this is Chris George, and that's his beautiful wife, then beautiful wife, because this, as you can see, this is from 2016. Let's keep going though.
Yeah. For what? I don't know. Oh my God. Inside the house, dude. Dude, it's over, dude. Call your lawyer right now. Call your lawyer right now, Chris. You need to go there and see what's going on. Listen, baby.
What is he telling his wife? He's telling his wife to go to the house and take one for the team. He's actually telling his wife to take the crime. How unfitting is that? Because most ladies, they don't want to take any fall for any crime. They'll spend the money, but they're not going to take that fall. Listen, you might have to take the blame for some of this stuff. That's what he's telling his wife.
You might have to take the blame for some of this stuff. The guns just say they're your guns. So you just brought them there. So I haven't been there all night. So I haven't been there. You just brought them there. That's fine, Dave. What do you want you to do?
And she said, that's fine, babe. So at the time, he had a ride or die. Then Deanna says, I don't know, Chris. I don't know what you got us into, but you know what? That's what she says.
I don't know, Chris. I don't know what you got us into, but you know what? You're not going to leave me here to deal with all this by myself.
At first, she said, I'll take the blame. I'll take the blame. And then she says, you're not going to leave me here to take the blame all by myself. So you could do a crime with your spouse. But when they get them in that interrogation room, I can tell you this. They are not going to take the blame by themselves. Whether the man going to tell on the wife or the wife going to tell her husband, there are going to be some blame tossed around here. Let's keep going.
I can't.
Dude, this is all.
Now he
Why are
crying,
you?
crocodile tears.
What happened? Did something happen?
Now he trying to
In
cry
jail for a
with
long
guilt.
time, man. A long time.
I'll take the fall for it.
You're gonna get in trouble then?
I've dealt with this before, okay?
No matter what happens, if they arrest you for anything illegal at the house, don't worry, I'll get you out.
You
Hey,
see right there?
CNBC fans, thanks.
Let's pause. Now let's get back into what's going on. These guys were ruthless, so ruthless they deleted or helped delete 3,000 people from their prescriptions. And the reason why I played the video before we kept reading is because some of the content I can't even play on the channel because they're age restricted. So I hope that this video is not age restricted, but we're gonna see. Let's keep going. I know that this video most likely will be demonetized, but let's keep going and let's talk about it. All right, American Pain is one-stop shop supplying both prescriptions, and painkillers. At the door, a hawking bouncer warns people not to snort their pills in the parking lot. So they already knew what was going on. These brothers was doing prescriptions for oxycodone and other medicines that they were prescribing at this institution. That would attract the kind of attention that the clinic's owners, twin brothers, Chris and Jeff George, are trying to avoid. But it's too late. Local and federal investigators are nearby, watching every move. These are scenes from a new CNN Films documentary, American Pain, which details the George brothers' rise and fall as opioid kingpins. Kingpins, people. The film by Emmy award-winning director Darren Foster uses FBI wiretap recordings and undercover videos along with the brothers' exclusive jailhouse interviews to paint a picture of a ruthless pain pill empire that turned the Georges into millionaires and enabled addicts from all over the country. So people knew all they needed to say was the fact that they were in pain. You could come from Atlanta, you could come to New York, you could come wherever you're from, because these guys were going to get you your fix. As you saw in the video, clearly the guy told his wife, take the fall. At first she said, you're not going to leave me by myself, and then she takes the fall. The George brothers did not start the opioid crisis, but they sure as hell poured gasoline on the fire, said retired FBI agent Kirk McKenzie, who was a part of the investigation nicknamed Operation Oxy Alley, that began after oxycodone from the twin brothers' clinic showed up at scenes involving drug overdoses. Investigators bugged the clinic's phones, recorded video, and sent undercover agents masquerading as patients to buy drugs. So these guys were the real deal. They went to school to become doctors in order to become drug kingpins. And are they the first? Absolutely not. But it just shows what they did in hindsight to be these kingpins. And I saw this article a little over a week ago, and I said, you know what? I got to do a video on this. I have to. They became the largest street level distribution group operating in the entire United States. You heard what I said? They became the largest street level distribution group operating in the United States. Now, the question is, have people stopped dying ever since they started? Absolutely not. The opioid is still at our all-time high. The drugs in the world, right? For addicts. Addicts love this stuff. They love it. They wouldn't give up. Hold on, what's going on here? Come on now. What's going on here? All right. So nobody put more pills on the streets than they did. Nobody. And they were operating in broad daylight. Nobody put more drugs on the streets than these brothers. One of the brothers described their operation as the Disneyland of pain clinics. Between them, Chris and Jeff ran 4 pain clinics and other related businesses in South Florida. Their operation coincided with surge in the opioid epidemic between 2008 and 2010. I want to add that these brothers, one of the brothers is still in jail because the other brother turned on the other brother in hindsight. Their mother got arrested. You're going to see further in this article. So much that happened in hindsight. The arrogance was on 100. Let's keep going. When the prescription painkiller business was booming, federal officials said people across the country also was beginning to realize that the toxic toll the legal drugs were taking on communities. Before this case, the public only knew that people were dying from drug overdoses. They had no idea how the system worked. McKinsey said the George brothers created the blueprint. This guy was so arrogant. And if you saw in the video, this truck was parked in the driveway of the video that I just showed. These guys were on another level. And like I said, there's other videos to show, but the age restricted. And I'm fearful that YouTube is going to make this video age restricted as well if I play too much. All right. They advertised the clinic in local newspapers and recruited doctors to prescribe the medications, offering them incentives for large and frequent prescriptions. To avoid setting off red flags, the brothers' clinics only accepted cash and credit cards, no insurance plans, according to court documents. They hired women through to dole out the pills prescribed by doctors. These guys were next level arrogant people. Next level arrogant. All right. The George brothers made it easy to get drugs at their clinics, where no appointments were necessary. Patients flocked to Florida from Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, and other Appalachian states ravaged by opioid abuse. This is the real deal, folks. I believe we've created a new form of terrorism. Jeff, this is how the arrogance was. Jeff said we created a new form of tourism. Yeah, somebody come to the point of no return, meaning you might go get more drugs than you need, and you may delete yourself from the process. That's what Jeff is really saying. The arrogance was on 10, people. Jeff George said in the documentary, in a phone interview from prison, we were basically like the Disneyland of pain clinics. And I got to copy and paste this because this is where we at with the kind of lifestyle that these guys were willing to take. It was a point of no return, and they felt that they knew by being in Florida that this had a different form out there to get them that fix, and this is where these guys came into contact. All right, so I'm trying to showcase this. Okay, let me keep going because I don't know. I don't want to lose the people. All right. Some drug dealers drove to the clinics from Kentucky and rented buses marked Tree of Life Baptist Church to mask their criminal intentions to film shows. It's like a candy store down there, one man told the FBI agent Jennifer Turner, who led the federal investigation. When asked why he frequented the George brothers pill mills, meanwhile, the brothers were making millions and trying to outdo each other's flamboyant lifestyles. They bought pricey watches, flashy cars, boats, multiple homes. Jeff George drove a Lamborghini, while his brother Chris had an enormous customized monster truck. And for people who don't know, that is the truck. It was a beast. This was flamboyancy on another level, people. All right, let's keep going. All right, where was I? Here we go. That's the clinic. Nothing special about it. South Florida Pain Clinic. They're going to give you a pain, all right, an addiction. All right. The clinics operated like frat houses, said Derek Nolan, a longtime friend of the twins who describes himself in the documentary as their right-hand man. All right, Big Derek. As customers waited for their next fix, clinic employees played with remote control cars and shot each other with slingshots. It was a playhouse. It really was like a circus or Disneyland, right, people? The clinic's fridges had beer and Patron shots, Nolan said. The clinic's cash registers were too small to contain the incoming flood of bills, so employees stuffed the money in massive trash bags. This was real deal. So when I said that these guys, and the article said these guys were the top level kingpins of opioids, that's what they mean, dang it. Let's keep going. They bragged about making millions of dollars in profits. One clinic referred people without MRIs to a trailer behind a strip club where they could get lap dances while waiting for new scans from sham radiologists. According to an FBI agent quoted in the film, these guys were on another level of their crime. They just didn't give a god darn it. Let's just be honest. They didn't care. They didn't care. They took it to another level. The George brothers believed the imagining helped make their prescription process look more genuine. The clinic's doctors were paid per person, which provided incentive to see as many patients as possible, federal officials said. The doctors did not obtain prior medical records or prescribe any alternative treatment. It was a one-stop shop. You was coming to get your fix, opioid, Oxycontin, and anything else you needed. As long as it was oxy, you was getting it. They did not make referrals to specialists. Virtually everyone examined by the co-conspirator physicians received a prescription for controlled substances. Court documents said there were no individualization of treatment as required under applicable federal and Florida law. They had an operation, people. For people who don't know, this is that oxy. They probably cut it down, put it in pill mills, and had it going. You was going to get your fix one way or another. And this said these bottles are 30 milligram oxycodone tablets straight from the manufacturer, were seized from a George Brothers clinic by law enforcement. The brothers' main clinic, America Pain, ranked among the top 9 purchasers of oxycodone in the nation, according to court documents. All right, let's get down to see how much money these guys actually made. This is what I want to know. Chris George brags in the film that American Pain Clinic also generated $40 million in profits. You got doggone right. These guys was kingpins. $40 million. Oh my goodness. I see why they had to stuff it in trash bags. Let's be honest. $1 million. Right. Let's keep going. American Pain prescribed 18 million units of oxycodone, ranking among the top 9 purchasers of oxycodone in the nation. 18 million units. These guys was on a different dang on their stratosphere. One of the 20 highest prescribing physicians in the entire country. 5 of them worked at just one of Chris's facilities. And McKenzie, the former FBI agent, these are real doctors. They have real licenses and would look to be a real clinic. Chris George said he took pride in the clinic's volume. I wanted my doctors to be the top prescribing doctors in the entire country. Now, entire ain't in that sentence. I added that in there because it seemed fitting. He tells the filmmakers in an interview from prison, to me, that was an accomplishment. Do this sound like a man that sound like he's in any way, shape, form, and fashion have any remorse for the people? Now, we're going to get into the people that were killed, right? Deleted. We're going to get into that. That's what we want to talk about here. A grieving father helped bring down a pill mill. John Frisky owns a computer service business in Jacksonville, Florida. At the time, a pill mill moved into the same strip mall. Frisky was a grieving father who lost his son Andy to opioid addiction. Andy loved music and played the guitar. Andy also loved to get high. And I don't want to sound disrespectful, but he loved to get high. And these guys played a part in the role of Andy being deleted. It's sad. I don't want to sound like I'm being incentive, but it's the truth. I hate obituaries where they always talk about the good thing. We got to talk about the bad thing. We all as humans have vices. And it's unfortunate that people like Chris and George Chris and Jeff played on the vulnerable. That's terrifying and disrespectful. He was in a car accident in Tennessee, had a ruptured spleen, and was in pain. Frisky told CNN. He got medicine from the pill mills. I didn't know there were pill mills. I didn't even know he was getting medicine. He overdosed on it. He probably was in that much pain. He probably was in that much pain because the spleen is in the stomach area. And if anybody ever had like a pain in their stomach, it's just on another level. Let's just be honest. The neighboring pain clinic was owned by a man named Zachary Rose, who was rivaling the George brothers for supremacy among Florida pill mills. So this is another guy who played hokey pokey with people's lives. He put his left foot in to get these people this fix, disrespectfully. Rose Clinic brought crowds of drug users from out of state to the area, and Frisky wanted him out of the strip mall. Get your ass out of here. That's what Frisky felt like. When the clinic asked Frisky to help them maintain their computer networks and security cameras, Frisky saw an opportunity. He approached the DNA and offered to help shut it down. All right, so let's play this video. If it's music, I can't. Music on this, I can't play it at all. All right, let's keep going. All right, DNA agents. Okay, let's see. Before I keep going, let's see. This is a commercial, so I don't even want to play the commercial because sometimes they have music and stuff on it. Well, that's an ad. I'm not going to get down. Let's keep going. Frisky said he would take out their hard drives, replace them with new ones, and turn the old ones over to federal agents. They would never question me, never tried to stop me, Frisky said. I was happy to shut them down. Rose pleaded guilty to a drug conspiracy in 2012 and was sentenced to 15 years in jail. Now, let's add this now. So this is 2023. Rose have done 11 years. He got 4 more to do. And he was a real doctor. Threw his whole freaking life away over this. An estimated 3,000 people died from overdoses linked to the brothers' clinics, the FBI says. We got to copy this. This is important. Over 3,000 people died from this. Everything came crashing down on August 11th, 2011, when federal investigators raided the brothers' homes and discovered illegal weapons, drugs, and other items. If you heard from the beginning of the video, the wife took the blame for this. The wife took the blame. They also raided the home of twin brothers. The twins' mother, Denise Haggerty, who worked at one of the pain clinics. There, they discovered safes in the attic stashed with $4 million. Now, remember now, they bragged about making $40 million. So where was the other $36 million at, right? They blew it in cars, houses, getting model type wives, all of this stuff. The brothers were among 31 people indicted, including a mother under the Federal RICO Act, which targets organized crime. 13 doctors were also charged, and all but 2 pleaded guilty to lesser charges of money laundering or wire fraud. So 2 of the doctors play hardball, baby. They say we ain't did no crime. Hardball it is. Haggerty, the twins' mother, pleaded guilty that year to 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and was sentenced to 30 months in jail. So she was sentenced right under 3 years. All right. Chris George pleaded guilty to 1 count of racketeering conspiracy and was sentenced to 17 years in prison. Now, he's out. This is the same dude who told his wife to take the blame. He told his wife to take the blame. He did 11 years. and got out in 2021. All right. That's him picture here. The same guy who told his wife to take the blame. Now, Jeff also pleaded guilty to racketeering conspiracy charge and was sentenced to 15 and a half years. He was also convicted of second-degree felony murder and the fatal overdose of a patient, according to court filings. He received an additional 20 years sentence for the murder charge and remains in prison. So one brother got 17 years. He did 11. He's still on paperwork for 6 years after that. The other brother directly was given 35 years. After he do 15, then he do the next 20. So he won't get out until he's probably in his late 60s. All right. Also, this is where they get arrogant. They about to get arrogant in the story. An estimated 3,000 people died from overdoses linked to the brothers' clinics, McKenzie said. He said the FBI came up with the number after reviewing a random sampling of 300 patient files from the brothers' clinics and noting how many of the patients had later overdosed. How many of the clinics customers sold their pills to others? That estimate doesn't include the secondary or even tertiary drug market, McKenzie added. Chris George denied responsibility for clinics' fatal overdoses. Now, this is where he get damn near arrogant. The brothers, now 42, leave a legal legacy in Florida. In 2011, the state passed a pill mill law that banned pain clinics from dispersing opioids and established requirements from medical examinations. Both Nolan, the Georgia's associate, who has also pleaded guilty to a racketeering charge and served 10 years in prison, feels like law enforcement targeting the wrong people. Tomato, tomato. People died. The government had to step in and do something about it. Let's be real about it. They didn't want to go after Big Pharma. They didn't want to go after big distributors. They just wanted us. We're nobody. You made $40 million. How in the world are you nobody? Are you a big dummy? You more than nobody. You the kingpin. You are nothing more than the street level drug dealer on the street. And guess what? People ain't overdosing on crack. I still see the same crackhead when I was little. He's still on crack. They still are living. They just crack. They ain't got no teeth in their mouth. But these folks are dying. Let's just be honest with it. The crackheads are crackheads. And that's how that's going. All right. Now, the arrogance of these people. The money we made is peanuts compared to what Big Pharma made over the years. And don't get me wrong, Big Pharma is responsible because so many people do die over prescribed medicines. But you will never see nobody at CVS or Walgreens, anything like that, going to jail. So he is correct in that aspect. But let's just be honest. Some of these people are dying. All right. In recent years, large pharmaceutical companies such as Purdue Pharma, whose oxycodone painkiller have been widely blamed for kickstarting the opioid crisis, have agreed to pay billions of dollars in legal settlements. So basically, they use the power of wealth for them not going to jail. It's like the statement, you are too rich to go to jail in a sense. Drugstore chains such as CVS and Walgreens have also agreed to settle lawsuits brought by states and local governments alleging that the retailers mishandled prescriptions of painkillers. Nah, all y'all did was use the power of prescriptions to kill people. People still died from Big Pharma too. They did. Meanwhile, more than a decade after the FBI shut down the operation, Chris George believed he and his brother played no role in fatal overdoses. The arrogance. That's a different level of arrogance. Yes, you and your brother played a role of Big Pharma. You made over $40 million from one clinic, not 2, 3, one clinic. In the end, it's their responsibility. They're responsible for themselves. I'm not. He says in the film after his release from prison, I don't think we created more addicts. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Because some people are easily addicted. And that's why I don't drink alcohol. Because I see people in my family have an addiction, and I'm fearful that maybe I will occur that addiction. It can happen, people. They were already here. They just had an easier way to get their drugs and a safer way. Now they don't even know what they're getting. Now he has some truth in that. Now you can push back on that all you want to. It's definitely some truth in what he's saying. Chris George, who is out on parole, continues to deflect blame for his drugs deadly toll onto his patients. They say they were in pain to my doctors. They got an MRI showing they were in pain. My doctors gave them a medication. We did. I mean, what they did with that is out of my hands. They act like I'm the bad guy here because I own the business. He added, you know, in this country, anybody can have or can open a business. Chris George said in plans to start a real estate business with his friend Nolan. Both guys who did 10 plus years in prison, now they're going into real estate. And if the housing market crashes, this is the more degree of arrogance. Like it did during the opioid empire's heyday, Nolan told the makers of the American Pain that he has another idea. We may have to venture back into the medical field. So these guys has a different level of arrogance when they're talking about what happened to the people. You see that these guys contributed to over 3,000 people deaths, and for their stake in the game, they say no fault. The way they're looking at it, we did our time in jail, and that's all that matter. I am telling you, people, that people are still dying. That's why big pharma is out there paying dues to society. What do you think, people? Let's get the conversation started. Put some information below. Do you have friends or family that pass away from opioids or have an opioid addiction, and you think something else needs to be done about it? Because these Oxy brothers contributed to over 3,000 people deletions, and they still have a degree of arrogance where they have no fault of their own. So this is Antonio with Team Tiggio. Please like, comment, subscribe. And once again, we will see you next time.